everybody. My name is Susanna Maurer. I am here with my amazing author, Christy. Is it Dietz? I should probably confirm that before I start talking. How do you say your name?
Christy Dietz. Yeah.
Christy Dietz. She is the author of Serpentine, and the absolutely gorgeous book that we published just a couple weeks ago. I'm super excited about this book because honestly, I love the cover so much. It is so fun. I get to put it up on social media. I get to share it, and it's eye-catching every single time. And you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but please judge our book by its cover and then go buy it. Actually, I think it just started, so we'll redo that. All right, hi everybody. My name is Susie. I think I just thought my life started and it didn't. I am the publicity director over here with Ambassador International. I am here with our author, Christy Dietz, author of Serpentine, the gorgeous golden book that you see plastered all over the internet. If you haven't pre-ordered or ordered or picked up your copy, I highly suggest it, if only because it is a beautiful book that should be on your bookshelf. My copy is coming. I ordered it off of Amazon a weekish ago, but I'm in the UK, so my Amazon takes a little bit longer sometimes. There's a quote that I always think of when I think of Christy, and it was one I saw on social media a few months ago, and it said, "Read mother writers who wrote their books while hopping up and down to give a snack to their kids." And every time I see Christy post her children on social media, I'm like, she's my mother writer. She's my mother writer who hops up and down and probably gave a lot of snacks out during her writing. Did that happen? Were you doing a lot of snack handing out? I think you said you signed your contract when you were 9 months pregnant. What happened when you were 9 months pregnant?
Yeah, I signed my contract for Serpentine when the same month that my second son was born.
Yes.
So
give birth to baby, give birth to a book.
Right. Yeah, I gave birth twice that month.
Right. I think we like just do all the things. I love that. I love that so much. So let's talk about this book. What led you to write this book? What led you to write Serpentine?
Well, honestly, I feel like God led me in a lot of ways. But what spurred the idea for it was just this growing division that I saw in the country back in 2016 when I started writing it. So, I mean, and since then, there's been even more division. So I've actually had people who have read the book reach out and be like, "Do you have like a premonition or something?" Because the book is just so applicable to where we are as a society today. And I think in some ways I did. I just kind of like saw like, some negative things, a negative direction that our society was headed in, and really capitalized on that and took it to an extreme, because it is dystopian. So I did take it, to the extreme.
I think you were kind of ahead of the curve there, which is awesome, because I think in 2020, everyone like quickly wrote like all these dystopian novels or tried to produce dystopian shows. At least the weird European Netflix I watch has them. And some of them almost seem like they're just trying to copy like events, whereas yours, like I said, was more like not a premonition per se, because we don't believe in that, but there was foresight and guidance in that. And so I think that's cool that you were ahead of the curve in that. But like you said, you took it to a dystopian level. Do you think that while it probably resonates more with readers now, do you think that it's more chilling to readers now too?
I do, just because of the state of our country right now and all the like, just the questions, surrounding the direction.
Yeah, the questions. I think that's a good way to describe it. Questions. Yeah, probably a little chilling. What were you hoping to achieve initially through the publication of your book?
I think I just was hoping that young adults would recognize like the need for morality within a broken society and the need for God.
I love that phrase, the need for morality within a broken society and the need for God. That's a good phrase. You should put that on things.
Yeah, so I think that that's kind of where my head was at, and not everybody like connects with the current narrative, and not everybody has the same thought process on the right way to live. And it's just important to recognize that we're all coming from a different place and a different background. and just to be empathetic of
Mm-hmm.
that, so that nobody feels isolated.
That is a really good point. I feel like I spend a lot of time telling people that perspectives are going to shape our narratives of how we're viewing events. It's going to be based on where you're living and your circumstances and all of those things. Like I spent the last 4 years not living in the US. So I'm a US citizen, but I watched it from abroad, as they used to say. And so things I see are different than what someone living in the East Coast or the West Coast or the South or the Midwest may see.
Absolutely. And people tend to want to blame God, and it's,
Right.
It's not God's fault
Right.
that no bad things happen. So,
right. It's a really good point. So what would you say that, oh, I think you also mentioned it. Your book is warning your readers against a society with no morality and no direction and no God. Is that what
yeah,
you would say? Which I like that. I really just like this cover. I keep looking at it right now and it's so gorgeous.
the glittering gold.
Yes, it's so eye-catching.
You did an amazing job on the cover. I was really happy with it. It was my vision for sure, so it was great.
Yeah, I read the comments and then I saw the cover and I was just like, this is gonna look so good on the shelf. Like, ooh. We all know that good writers, or we should know that good writers tend to be readers. So who contributed to your love of reading and writing?
Well, I mean, it started very young. I've always been reading, and I really have like my parents to thank for that too. Like I was always at the library, and they really cultivated a love for it within me. But I started with Nancy Drew. I started with the Boxcar Children. I loved mysteries. Little Women. I mean, I'm one of, as it says in my author bio, I'm one of 4 girls. So, I grew up with 3 sisters. So I always felt, a connection to that story. And then Jo was a writer in the story.
So were you Jo when you read
in my mind?
Yes, I know. When I read Little Women, I was always Jo too. For some reason, I think everyone wants to be Jo.
Maybe.
But probably the writers, I'm assuming, are connecting with Jo, and we just hear about them because they're writing about it.
Right.
No, I was reading your bio, and I was like, ooh, Nancy Drew. I read all of those. I would like pick them up in the Costco pack and just read them.
Oh, yes, they're so good.
And it's before
they really shaped my childhood. But yeah, I mean, now as an adult, obviously I've read a lot more since then.
You're like, I read more than Nancy Drew, guys.
Yeah, I read more than the Boxcar Children Babysitter.
Oh, that's so funny. The interesting thing about Nancy Drew is that it was before I knew the concept of what a ghostwriter was. And so I always wondered why the descriptions didn't match, because I read like all of them and then I learned they were ghost written by a lot of people. And I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. It was a little bit of a letdown. Like I liked the theory that there's just like this one woman writing Nancy away.
Which, I get that for sure.
Which broke my little 10-year-old heart. That's okay.
Right.
Aside from Nancy Drew, what books have influenced you the most?
Well, I mean, I'm a teacher, so I've taught a lot of the classics, but like F. Scott Fitzgerald, The Great Gatsby, that's always been a big one for me. He was able to just like illuminate setting in a way I don't feel like many authors have been able to do. So I always kind of use him as a guide when I'm thinking about like describing a world or like making a world. Even though he was like a totally different type of writer than I am, I just find him inspiring.
But
yeah, other than him, I mean, I love Shakespeare. I mean, I love it all, like any literary classic.
The English major background. I visited Shakespeare's hometown like 2 years ago, and it's pretty cool. It was pretty cool to see.
That Heard upon Avon.
Where he came from and what he did. Yeah, and the rooms were very small. Like that always like overwhelms me when I go into those old rooms. I'm like, they're so small. How did you come up with all these words in these small rooms? But
well, who knows if he wrote all of those?
Yeah,
words.
He wasn't living there. He's probably roaming the countryside. Yeah, so true. So disappointing, people. What is the most surprising thing you learned through the publication process?
How long it takes?
throws a lot of authors because they're like, I wrote a book, gonna publish it. And then like 2 years later, they're like, oh, here's my book, guys.
Yeah,
Here's my book.
yeah. I mean, I knew it would take I thought it would take like a few months, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, and when I found out the contract was 2 years, I was like, wow, that's a really long time. I was like, there's no way I'm going to use 2 years.
Yeah.
And then I used the whole 2 years. So yeah, it takes a long time.
And you got
But
to
you
like
want
live
just
through
right.
some life-changing events in the middle of it too. So
Right, for sure.
that's, yeah, I think that's an important thing to note for authors. Like the writing can be the fun part, and then you have the publication and the marketing and the publicity of it, and it just,
And the editing is
and
so
the
intense.
editing and the editing, yeah, and then just the, I wanted to say this, it doesn't say this is my vision. I think it's good to have that knowledge going into it, because writing is such like a creative act and a creative endeavor. But it's important to know that the mundane things are what drive it, and what drive it to the publication process.
For sure.
On that note, how long did it take you to write the book, and did you ever consider giving up?
It took me about 2 years.
So it took
The publication process was 2 years. The writing process was 2 years. I did at times think about giving up. I think I just kind of, I don't know, just lost myself sometimes in my direction for it. But I kept getting pulled back in. You know, I kept getting pulled back to the story, to the readers, and that's where I kind of think God stepped in and was like, "You need to finish this. You know, to see this through." And I've never really been a quitter either. You know, I feel like if I start something, I want to see it through, especially if it's something of the heart. So I did. Here we are.
So it taught you diligence and perseverance, or reinforced that.
Did. Especially with the editing, because I mean, I changed a lot of it in the editing process, and you know, different plot lines took different directions than I originally anticipated them to take. So it was quite a process.
Yeah, it did. Like we said, it's like you gave birth to a novel and you gave birth to a baby, but usually the baby, you're just raising it, you and your husband. But with the novel, it's all different opinions and edits and all those things factored into the raising of a novel.
Yeah.
Let's see here. What part of your book did you find the most difficult to write?
Oh, the love. It's probably always about the love story, but it was definitely the connection between like Finnick, Ezra, and Esther, and just the direction I wanted that story to take, and just working out those feelings they had for each other, and how I was going to tie that all together at the end.
Make it natural, not cheesy, believable.
Yeah, and I actually ended up changing a significant amount of those portions. So, but I think for the better.
Good. I was like, I hope for the better.
For the better.
Since you're also a teacher, how did that role impact your writing?
A lot, actually. My kids are really supportive in so many ways, for one thing, and I appreciate them so much. Some of them are even coming to a signing this weekend.
Oh, that's awesome.
They're just so great, yeah. But especially when I taught creative writing for a while, like for a few years, as an elective, and I learned so much with the kids about the publication process and just how to grow as a writer in general. And so all of that has really stayed with me and really helped me to build myself while building them. So.
Oh, I love that. Some of my favorite, they were professors in college. So my degree is also in creative writing and English. I think it's funny when I tell my authors that, but some of my favorite professors were the creative writing ones who had kids at home who were also growing in their own writing and talking about their writing journeys. And I think that makes you a better teacher too, because you can relate real life writing. Like, here's how we do it in real life to the classroom, and then vice versa.
Yeah, and I would share stuff with them, you know, all the time. I write it along with them. I'd say, okay, we're doing flash fiction this week, and I'd do a flash fiction too. You know?
That's perfect. How old, do you mind telling me the years you teach or ages that you teach?
Yeah, right now I teach 10th grade.
Okay.
In the past, When I taught creative writing, it was 11th and 12th.
Okay. So really your students, a lot of them could probably read your book and it's like right on par. Because I don't think is it classed as young adult fiction? I don't remember.
Yeah, I think the audience on Amazon is 15 to 18.
But I feel like a lot of adults are reading it too. And so it's always
Yeah.
kind of tricky because like once you get to the upper teenagers, it can go either which way. But that's perfect. Let's see here. And do you have plans for writing future books or future pieces or future writing of any sort?
Yeah, right now I'm working on a children's book with a girlfriend of mine who is a really talented illustrator. So she is working on the illustrations. I'm writing the book portion. And then I also have about 20,000 words towards another young adult. It's not dystopian. It's actually has some elements of mystery in it, and along with kind of addressing the mental health issues that we see in teenagers.
Ooh, that sounds like a good one.
So it's a little bit different. And like I said, it's 20,000 words in, so I'm not that far yet, but we'll see where it goes. I haven't had any time to write this summer, so.
Right. A little bit busy. Let's talk about your book signings. When is your next book signing? Where should people show up? Tell me about it.
Well, the next one is this Saturday. I live in Hershey, Pennsylvania, so it's in Hershey, Pennsylvania. There's this really cute market on Chocolate Avenue that sets up different like vendors, like local vendors. And so I'll have a tent set up there with a table, and I'll be selling and signing books for a few hours.
That kind of sounds like the best situation. You go to a market on Chocolate Avenue and you buy a book. I think that would have been my like 15-year-old dream.
Yeah.
Honestly, probably is my adult dream now.
Yeah, I'm hoping to peruse the market myself while I'm there.
So audience, if you're not following Christy on social media, particularly Instagram, I so suggest you go do that. Christy is one of the authors I love following because she does a really good job of pairing her real life, her kids, her husband with her writing. And you should just go follow her. And since she's a teacher, maybe she'll throw out more tips for all of us to learn and glean from her. And honestly, I just love the fact that you live in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Every time I read the title of your town, I go on this entire like wavelength about chocolate, and then I come back to the reality. And it's probably
and then all of a sudden you're eating chocolate.
Yeah, I'm like, where did this happen? I was supposed to read a book, guys. But Serpentine is available wherever books are sold. Like I said, it is a great book for your bookshelf. It is gorgeous. It is good Christian fiction. So good as in it is well written. It's Christian. It's not going to be like Faux Christian Ambassador really works on making sure that our books really do glorify God. But it's interesting and it's engaging, and it is probably a really great talking piece. So I highly suggest if any of you are on the fence looking for a book, that you pick it up. I'm really sad my copy isn't here. I wanted to show that I really am backing our books. I am packing up and moving in a month, and I still bought her book so I can have it and bring it with me. And I'm downsizing right now. So is there anything you want to say to the audience, like people who are trying to become writers or mothers who are trying to follow their passion with children, for encouragement or something that they can take to heart?
I think just, especially for mothers who are trying to juggle it all, that to just recognize that it takes time, and don't put a rush on yourself, because good things take time, but also the time is going to pass anyway. So, utilize it, use it to your advantage, and do something that you're going to be proud of.
Ooh, I like that. And we were going to say, make your kids proud. What were you going to say? Yeah. Do something you're going to be proud of. Make your kids proud. And in your case, you can match it to the age of your youngest, I believe, right? So that's extra special. Are your little ones, how old are they? I know
5 and 2.
Okay. So does the 5-year-old know that mommy wrote a book?
Oh my goodness. He was so excited. He was at the first book signing, like hugging me, and yeah, he was So pumped.
Aw,
Yeah.
I love
And
that.
he was, it was his idea to take a family picture with everyone holding a book. Like that was all him.
Oh, I love
So
that one. I was one of my favorite pictures. I was like giving you my like publicist round of approval, and it was good. I'm
you
glad that
can
my
see it next
ideas are on par with the 5-year-olds.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a brilliant idea.
No, that
Maybe
is
he'll have your job someday.
probably. Honestly, kids are the best at marketing because they'll just tell you what they think, and they'll just be like, "I like this book. This is my toy and my book." So that's brilliant. Christy, thank you so much for joining me today. I know that you had to be really, really flexible since we're on weird time zones and we both have babies and just like making it happen. But I really, really appreciate you as an author making it happen, making these book signings happen, making this book happen, making this interview happen. And I really, really hope that your fan base appreciates you because we certainly do.
Oh,
So,
thank you, Susie. I appreciate you having me.
yes, this was really fun. Again, everyone, Christy, how do you pronounce your book? I'm pronouncing it wrong.
Serpentine?
Serpentine. Available. I call it Serpentine because apparently I don't know how to talk.
I think you can say it both ways.
Yeah, I think there's like a thing here called the Serpentine. Serpentine, Serpentine, available wherever books are sold. You know you want a gold book on your bookshelf, everyone. Women, go support a mother author. Alrighty. We will see you guys later.